We are given a set of data which represents the commute time in LA in minutes, and it tells us that we should use 7 classes with a starting lower class limit of 0 to help us construct our frequency distribution table. So the first thing we need to do is organize our data values into classes or categories. A class is an interval used to help us organize and group our data values. Each data should belong only to one class, and all data points should be included in one of those classes. In our problem, we are given the number of classes, which is 7. But if it's not given, another way to find the number of classes is simply taking the square root of the total number of data values you have here. In our case, it's 50, and square root of 50 is 7.07 approximately, so we just use 7 as our number of classes. The next thing we need to find is find the class width, which is take the maximum data value minus the minimum, and then you're going to divide that by number of classes. So in our problem, our maximum commute time is 90, and then our minimum commute time is going to be 5 minutes, and then our number of classes is 7. So now we're going to simplify this, so we have 85 divided by 7, which is approximately 12.14. And for the class width, you always want to round up to the next convenient number. So the next convenient number after 12 is going to be 15. And now we're going to use our class width to help us find lower class limits. So it tells us that we need to start with a lower class limit of 0. And if it's not given to you, then usually we use the minimum value as our lower class limit. And then to find our next lower class limit, you're going to add 15 each time. So after 0, then we have 15 and 30, 45, 60, 75, and 90. And I know I need to stop at 90 because I only want 7 classes, so therefore I should only have 7 lower class limits. And you're going to list them vertically in your table. And to find the upper class limits, you can use your lower class limits to help you find the upper class limits. So if I know next number starts 15, then the number before it has to be 14. And then the number before 30 has to be 29. And then the pattern continues to get remainder upper class limits. So therefore, my upper class limits are 14, 29, 44, and etc. And now the next thing we need to do is count the number of data points that fall into each class, which is also known as the frequency. So we can use our telemarks to help us find the frequency. So let's start with 18. 18 minutes is between 15 and 29. So here's our first telemark. 25 is also between 15 and 29. And then 45 is between 45 and 59. 75 is between 75 and 89. 60 is between 60 and 74. And then 40 is between 30 and 44. And then you just keep going until you get all your tally marks for each class. And there we go. So now to get our frequency, you simply count your tally marks. So the number of data values between 0 and 14 is going to be 6. And next one is going to be 18. And you just keep going. So just count the tally marks. And there's your frequency distribution table. And one way for you to check your work is simply add all your frequency and make sure it's equal to 50 because that's our total number of data values in our table. And to find the class midpoints, you simply add the lower class limit plus the upper class limit and then divide it by 2. So you will add 0 plus 14, which is 14 divided by 2. That will be 7. 15 plus 29, that's 44, divided by 2, so that will be 22. And I'll do one more. 30 plus 44 is 74, and half of that is 37, and then the pattern continues. And the last thing we need to find is the class boundaries. And we find the class boundaries to help us remove any gaps between the class intervals. So to do that, you simply find the midpoint between the upper class limit to the next lower class limit. So therefore, the midpoint between 14 and 15 is going to be 14.5. And then the midpoint between 29 and 30 is going to be 29.5, and etc. And the only thing that you have to be aware of is that make sure you add the lowest class boundary, so the number before 0. So the middle number between 0 and -1 is going to be -0.5. And same thing, the number after 104, the next number will be 105. So the midpoint, the middle value between 104 and 105 is going to be 104.5. And that's how you construct your frequency distribution table using the number of classes and the class width.